I love technology. I love thinking about it, talking about it, living alongside it. What I've lost interest in is particular specs. I don't really care about processors or components or the yearly ritual of being told that this one is slightly faster than last year's. What I care about are the stories behind the technology and what it is doing and can do for us. Marshall McLuhan wrote, "We shape our tools, and therefore our tools shape us." Nowhere is this more obvious than with the phone in your pocket. If you look around your city, your town, your village, or even just at your parents at the kitchen table, we are embedded in our phones, like heads down, thumbs moving, everywhere I look. My folks actually just use one finger. They both do it. It's really quite cute. I used to be angry. I'd sit on the tube thinking about all the moments that didn't happen, all the eye contact missed, all the dates that never existed because both people were looking down at glass rectangles. But I had to stop myself because one of those people might be reading something that changes their life. I know that I've listened to things staring into space that have given me an entirely new worldview. Other times, you might just be playing Candy Crush, and that's the problem and the miracle. Looking at my screen time, I can see that I pick up the phone almost 100 times a day. There have been studies that estimate the average may be higher. My nervous system is responding exactly as designed to a device engineered for frictionless interruption. Calling that bad misses the point and lets everyone off the hook. So the question isn't, are phones bad? That argument is already boring. The real question for 2026 is this: how do we maximize the usefulness of this thing while minimizing its power over us? There's a cultural backlash happening. Digital minimalism, dumb phones, physical keyboards, paper notebooks, analog watches. People try to rebel against the screen. I understand the impulse, I really do, but we are not going backwards. Technology only moves forward, and that doesn't have to be tragic. A few days after I published my first draft of this essay to my newsletter audience, my inbox filled up, not with people screaming, but with reflection. I received stories from people I didn't expect to be fans of the phone at all. Oh, and you should definitely sign up to contribute to my next video like this. I love hearing from you. There is a link in the description. I heard from people in their 30s, 40s, 60s, 70s. Some had grown up with smartphones, others had written code before the internet existed, musicians who recorded to tape in the 1970s, people who remember the world before. All of them were negotiating the same question: what does it mean to live well alongside a tool this powerful? Mark Butler wrote to me about building his first computer in high school in 1975, working in rooms filled with refrigerator-sized machines, and now holding something in his hand that has more computing power than several of those rooms combined. He called the internet a great and often terrifying thing, all the knowledge of the human experience and all the ugly together. Another reader, Robert Marzalek, went even further back. Fire, the wheel, the hammer, each one changed life profoundly. Each one was used for good and for harm. His conclusion wasn't rejection, but responsibility. We need a moral compass for innovation, not nostalgia for what came before. And I was talking to my father about this too. I was doing the whole, isn't it awful that we're just all on our phones thing? And he just laughed. He said, what was awful was fighting with 4 siblings over who got to use the phone. What was awful was the cost of phone calls. What was awful was being bored in a way that was genuinely empty. And that reminded me, we romanticize boredom now. We tell people to be bored, put the phone down, read a book. But if you have access to books, you're not actually bored. We can't really be bored anymore. I remember true boredom at my grandparents' house in rural Somerset, realising I'd read all the books, watched all the VHS tapes, played all the board games. The weather was way too bad to play outside without getting ill, and there truly was nothing to do. Nowadays, we suffer overwhelm. We don't want to sit alone with our own thoughts. We might be missing out on something. Several people wrote in about this distinction. One former tech executive told me his phone gets turned off at night. Full stop. Sleep is sacrosanct. His inner circle can reach him. Everyone else arrives via email when he's ready, not because he hates technology, but because attention has value. Another reader described running a large online community, but refusing to install those platforms on his phone at all. Desktop only, deliberate friction, not deprivation, design. And that's where my own thinking has started to change. I work online, I put myself out there, I read comments for a living. When something gets under my skin, I have to just turn my phone over and remind myself that that person berating me online is not in the room. And it makes all the difference, remembering I'm in control. So here's my working philosophy going into 2026. I want to use my phone as aggressively as possible in service of my life, not as a slot machine attached to my nervous system. Because my phone is extraordinary. I use it to communicate, record ideas, translate languages, manage my business, navigate entire countries, take genuinely good photos and videos, read long-form journalism, track my health, and plan my work. That isn't distraction. That's infrastructure. And one reader, Mark Wagner, put it bluntly, if his phone disappeared tomorrow, what would break first wouldn't be entertainment. It would be paying bills, accessing music, audiobooks, independence. Another, John Irwin, wrote about discovering new musicians, including me during the long isolation of COVID. The phone didn't replace human connection. It enabled it when the alternative was silence. So yes, I flirted with the idea of turning my phone into a dumb phone. I tried, and it turns out I don't want to live back in 2004. I pay for things with my phone, I run my life on it. So instead of limiting capability, I limited seduction. I turned my phone black and white, and it sounds trivial, but my God, it makes a difference. Designers have known for decades that colour drives attention. Remove the colour, and suddenly your phone stops shouting at you. It becomes quieter, more book-like, more intentional. I still get everything I need. Maps, payments, Wi-Fi, translation, access. I take photos in grayscale, but they come out in colour. What I don't get is the gumble machine. I just like that my phone has, I felt like it had gone completely insane, even with 99% of notifications turned off. I can barely respond to enough messages between WhatsApp, iMessage, Discord, Slack. I have hundreds of voice memos trying to find my next album. My notes app is overflowing with to-do lists and half-formed observations. My favourite podcasts release 3-hour episodes 3 times a week. I have 40,000 photos to dig through. So now I'm doing something deeply unsexy. I'm making space slowly, month by month, curating physical photos, photo books to put on shelves, deleting apps, definitely social media, being more thoughtful about my notes and recordings, editing them down in spare moments on trains and planes. And this isn't a rejection of technology. It's just a refusal to be passive. What struck me most in the replies wasn't agreement, it was calm. Even the people who disagreed weren't panicked. One reader wrote almost defiantly that if his phone disappeared tomorrow, nothing would break. He'd lived before it, he'd live after it, and maybe that's true for him. But for most people, the answer was more vulnerable. Some things would break, some things would slow, some things would be harder. I would definitely find life difficult, and that's okay to admit. The remarkable thing about this era is that we all carry the same tool. You might have the same phone as someone running a company, writing code, or changing the world. You don't even need the latest one to be educated on it, capable, or to make incredible things with it. Inside this device is access to the best ideas humanity has produced, but only if you decide what it's for. The iPhone is one of the most powerful tools ever made. You just have to be the one holding it. As always, please write your thoughts in the comments below. I know they'll be interesting. What is most impressive? What's the most impressive thing you use your phone for? What apps are actually improving your life? Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you here again very, very soon. But now I need to go and write this evening's newsletter.
I will catch myself having conversations